There's a few issues I want to bring up in this. Few issues I want to bring up about in this case. I'm currently in Scotland, staying with my parents, and I read a report today that's just a disclaimer: anyone who's sensitive about animal welfare issues, you may not want to listen further. But it's doing the rounds in some of the papers, and so basically, two teenage girls in actually they're adults, they're both 19, in Aberdeen apparently got someone's pet boa constrictor and tortured it for this was the early hours of the morning, and I'll read out a bit from the press report in a second. But um, what I want to raise here is just once again something I feel very strongly about, which is, in my view, unaccountable weak judges, and also alcohol. It's particularly a problem here in Scotland, but across the island, and how it just shouldn't be used as an excuse. So I'm going to read out a bit of the report then, just share my thoughts. This is from the Daily Record, stated today, the 8th of March 2019. Vile girls who tortured pet snake in sick video sentence over despicable behaviour. Frankie Jane Kane and Yasmin Walker, also known as Doherty, both 19, were ordered to do community service after they drunkenly threw a snake around in the street, and the injuries meant it had to be put down. This snake had escaped from its owner's house nearby. Um, and the sentences were 120 yards for Frankie Jean Kane and 80 yards for friend. Um, no, 120 hours for Yasmin Doherty and 80 hours for Frankie Jane Kane. Just a word of caution: if anyone's going to send them nasty messages, make sure you've got the right people, because I noticed that one girl who's from Aberdeen shares the name with them was a totally different person. So if they had any sense, they'd be taking down their social media accounts about now. Absolutely despicable. Anyway, yeah, so the snake had escaped from her cage in owner Robert Norman's flat in the nearby Marischal Court tower block, where Doherty also lives. A video posted on Snapchat by Doherty shows the teenagers throwing the snake around, known as Esmeralda, around the street. One of the girls is heard slurring her words and says, "Hello, little snakey, snakey." She then says, "Let me pick it up." And basically, they threw the snake around. It was badly injured. Um, they claimed that one of them claimed their defense was she was so drunk she thought it was fake. But I find that hard to believe. I mean, a real snake's going to be heavy. It's going to be breathing. It's just what pisses me off about cases like this is how, and I've heard it before in violent assaults on people, alcohol being used as an excuse. It's the way I see it is a lot of people get drunk. A lot of people drink too much, but it's just a card's excuse to mitigate responsibility. I mean, these aren't children. It would be bad enough if they were, but these are young women, and you know, it's just disgusting. I think it should have been a custodial sentence, because if they're capable of doing that to a living creature, I think they'd be capable of doing it to a vulnerable person. And it's just, the press were reporting it as Sheriff Gary Aitken, um, dressed them down. He slammed them with a community sentence, but that is not justice. It's a joke. I mean, a community sentence, I don't think reflects the gravity of what they've done here. They're first offenders, so that may be the reason for that sentence. But I think a custodial sentence would shock them into, never doing something like this again. But I also think that just alcohol being used as an excuse is pretty despicable. And Doherty was so stupid to put it online, which indicates to me that there's a desensitized attitude there. Um, so I'll put a link to this article. I'm not going to read it all out. But here's something else that is just staggering. The Scottish SPCA Chief Inspector John Carl said later he was disappointed the pair had not been banned from keeping animals. I mean, you'd think common sense would dictate that these two would never be allowed to keep pets ever. Just period, never. Um, I mean, it's totally disgusting. I sympathise with the owner. I mean, that's not justice. I really think judges like this need to get into the real world. I don't think that is justice. First time offenders or not, this was gratuitous violence. It was just sadistic torturing of a living creature. And the court heard Docherty had lost her job as a direct consequence of her cruelty and was now apologetic, embarrassed, and ashamed, only because she got caught. I really, really don't think these girls would have any remorse if they hadn't been exposed. Probably, ironically, her putting it online helped to bring the case, bring it to light, but it's just disgusting, really. Because if she hadn't put it online, ostensibly, no one would have found out this was the early hours of the morning in Aberdeen. And anyway, let me know your thoughts. I personally think it should be a custodial sentence. I'd say between 1 and 3 years at least. You know, people might think, oh, it's just an animal, but really, if they're going to do that to a sentient creature, I do think they'd be very capable of picking on a vulnerable person. And I hope this isn't some nonsense case. It doesn't say so in the report, but the judge is looking on them as female offenders or being young. They knowingly tortured a living creature. I mean, that should blatantly be a custodial sentence. Imagine a lot of animal rights people are understandably furious about this, and I really sympathise with the owner, but I've not much sympathy if there's a backlash against him. I mean, what the hell do you expect when you're going to put something like that online? Despicable.